everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Kayla with Goddess Angel Divination. So today I'm gonna go ahead and just read from these texts here. I'm gonna go ahead and read an excerpt from the teachings of Buddha, and then I'll read an excerpt from the Torah and one from the Quran. And I just want to let you guys know that looking out into this world is not is the wrong way to look. The way that we look and the way that we see things and how we project things outward, it's not good. You need to project things inward solely, because the only way that we can look, the only way that we should look is on the inside. In attachments, being attached to anything is not good. It's that's like selling your energy to a job or something, right? So whenever we put our energy out into the world, instead of putting our energy into ourselves, because ourselves, inside of us, we know exactly what we want. So when we throw ourselves out into all the things that we see, because what we see is not really even there, it's just they're just things. So anyways, I just want to make sure that you guys know to not attach yourself to anything out here, because it's not good for you. Attachments aren't very good for you. They serve their purpose, but they have conditions, and it's also it expires. And with when you go inside, nothing expires on the inside. It is all non-perishable there. So when we do have those attachments, they eventually are no longer there. Eventually they go away. But in yourself, that can last forever, because on the inside of us are infinite. So do not attach yourself to me. Do not attach yourself to anything, because even when you attach yourself to anything or anybody, it's just not good for you. You need to make sure that you are not attaching to it, but you want to make sure that you are not attached. Be sure that you are Azizi. No, stop it. You want to make sure that you are connected to your inner self. And we can't look and project out in this world, because when we do that, it's just a waste of energy. And yeah. So it's much better to just put your energy into your godly energy, which is going to stem at your chakras, in your chakras. You can sense it vertically if you activate your crown chakra. Just focus on your crown chakra, and you'll feel your power. So connecting to your crown chakra helps you to connect to downloads that spirit wants to tell you, and etc. Do not attach to a single thing out in this world. That's selling yourself to the devil, basically. So don't do that. Do not do that. Don't do that. Just basically don't do that. Just don't do it. If you want to be around good people, be around them, but leave it at that. They are not attached to you, and you are not attached to them. You are your own, and they are their own. Just let it be, and I'm not trying to say let it be separate, but let it be Like, just be yourself. Don't try to attach to something that someone else does, someone else says, someone else, whatever anybody else says, that information is already like within you. Like, like we have so much more power than we think. And when you put your energy, if you even like look at somebody, you're like putting your energy on them. So yeah, so just just be careful with like the way, like who you put your energy towards, right? I'm just letting you know that. Like, some people, we are here to help heal, but and uplift, but like, I just really believe in focusing on our own self here. So in this book, we've got the Four Noble Truths, and we've got this excerpt that I'm going to read. Okay, so I'll read the whole thing. So we'll just go ahead and do this. So the Buddha said, "And I discovered that profound truth, so difficult to perceive, difficult to understand, tranquilizing and sublime, which is not to be gained by mere reasoning, and is visible only to the wise. The world, however, is given a pleasure, delighted with pleasure, enchanted with pleasure. Truly, such beings will hardly understand the law of unconditionality, the dependent origin of everything. Wow. Yet there are beings whose eyes only a little covered with dust. They will understand the truth. Yet there are beings whose eyes are only a little covered with dust. They will understand the truth." Wow. Right off the bat, it's like talking about like how the world is delighted with pleasure, like the things that feel good, right? The things that like you're just like, oh my gosh, look at how sparkling and shiny, or how like nice that is, right? But sometimes, the world isn't always like pleasure, right? So we have to like kind of like look at things from an unconditional point where, we can't really expect anything, right? So what now is like, because sometimes we're only happy like when we feel something that is pleasurable, which is a condition, and that limits us. And limitations are like basically like underneath the energy of attachment. So yeah, so don't be happy just because like something has happened to you. Be happy because you have like many other reasons to enjoy yourself and find like unconditional love within who you are, and and all that. You don't need anything. You are unconditional. Everybody has that power to be unconditional, okay? And to connect with God completely, every single person on earth, because God's created every single one of us, and God is the only one who can activate or do anything. We cannot, as humans, like the humans here, they can't do that, but God can. God can make us do things, and God can make us like be a certain way, and God can do anything. It's about like who God picks. And if you have been chosen to do this, it's normally like people are like people can be like called out, and it depends on how it depends on their unconditional energy. So if you do things based off condition, it can be hard to make things happen, because it's not an unconditional kind of service. It's solely it has to be solely unconditional, not conditional. But either way, now what now is the noble truth of suffering? Birth is suffering, decay is suffering, death is suffering, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are suffering. Not to get what one desires is suffering. In short, of the 5 groups of existence are suffering. What now is the noble truth of the origin of suffering? It is craving, right? Craving, which is want, which gives raise to fresh rebirth and bound up with pleasure and lust. Now here, now there, finds ever fresh delight. But where does this craving arise and take root? Whatever in the world there are delightful and pleasurable things, there is craving arises and takes root. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind are delightful and pleasurable. There are craving there this craving arises and takes root. Visual objects, sounds, smells, tastes, bodily impressions, and mind objects are delightful and pleasurable. There this craving arises and takes root. Consciousness, senses, impression, feeling born of sense of impression and perception. Because when we are experiencing whatever we experience, it feels good to kind of just experience something. But if you didn't know what felt good, right, would you be doing it, or would you be craving it? You know what I mean? If you knew about this before you saw it, would you even want it, right, if you didn't have these cravings? So think about things unconditionally, before, because lust can make us do things that it can make us start craving a lot of different things. So but either way, and lust can be lusting for just the world, because lust is within the world, and love is because lust is about wanting to touch and feel something, but love is about being free and and just being yourself. So now we do have let's go ahead and read that sentence. So consciousness, sense, impression, feeling born of a sense of impression, perception, will, craving, thinking, and reflection are delightful and pleasurable. There is craving arises and take root. Now, what is the noble truth of the extinction of suffering? It is the complete fading away of extinction of this craving. So to make the suffering go away, it's you have to have whatever it is that you want, right? It's forsaking and abandonment, liberation and detachment from it. So in order to get away from this, in order to extinct, to make the suffering go completely away, you have to detach completely from whatever it is that you want. The extinction of greed, the extinction of hate, the extinction of delusion. This indeed is called nirvana. So once we have eliminated what we want and being greedy about it, and we've extinct, and we've gotten rid of all the hate that we get from maybe not getting it, and then we do eliminate what isn't happening to us right in front of us. If we can just be able to say, okay, so this hasn't happened, so let me just detach from it, so that way I can be happy, because nirvana is happiness, and that is being in the state of heaven as well. So, and for a discipline thus freed, in whose hearts dwelled peace, there is nothing to be added to what has been done, and not more remains to do. Just a rock of one solid mass remains unshaken by the wind. Even so, neither forms nor sounds, nor odors, nor tastes, nor contracts, or any kind neither the desired nor the undesired can cause such a one to waver. This is steadfast in mind, gained is deliverance. So discipline will help free us. We just need to accept what is there. And once we do that, I believe that, it's about like, because like, it's about being like a rock, and for a rock to be polished in like the riverbed, it must be, it has to like kind of tumble in the water for a little while before it's able to smooth out. So we have to like, just let ourselves like, kind of just be in the water and just be like the rock, like in every single stage and every single part of the stage that the rock is, like, in whatever formation that it's in, and just completely just like, allow things just to happen like the way that it's supposed to happen, because once the rock like, enters the river, it will take, maybe like years for it to smoothen out. So until like the water has like completely eroded away all of like your edges and you are completely smoothed and like a whole new rock, right? That's when like you'll be able to, but you don't know exactly like what's happening to you because you're just a rock, right? So but don't like attach to anything, right? Just let yourself roll around like the universe wants you to. And one who has considered all the contracts of this earth is no more disturbed by anything whatever in the is no more disturbed by anything whatever in the world. The peaceful one, freed from rage, from sorrow, and from longing, has passed beyond birth and decay. This I call neither arising or passing away, neither standing still or being born nor dying. There is neither foothold nor development nor any bias. This is the end of suffering. Hence, the purpose of the holy life does not consist in acquiring alms, honor, or fame, nor in gaining mortality, concentration, nor the eye of knowledge. That is shakable deliverance of the heart. That indeed it is an object of the holy life. That it is essence. That is the goal. What now is the noble truth of the path that leads to the extinction of suffering? So we are moving towards the extinction of suffering. Now, we have to give. Okay, so now what is the noble truth of the path that leads to the extinction of suffering? So what to do to make your suffering go away? To give up the indulgence in sensual pleasure. So give up on what makes you feel good. The base, common, vulgar, unholy, unprofitable, or to give up oneself to self-mortification. The pain, unholy, unprofitable, both these two extremes, the perfect one has avoided and has found out the middle path, which makes one see and know, which leads to peace, to discernment, to nirvana. This is the holy eightfold path, the way that leads to extinction of suffering, namely. So right understanding, so the right thought, the right speech, the right action, the right livelihood, the right effort, the right mindfulness, and the right concentration. You have to like remain balanced in certain things, because suffering is like, kind of like going up and down, up and down, up and down. But to be a medium is balance. To find balance, that, because like in the middle, that is where God is. Because even on the solar plexus is the main source of God. To be centered in your body and your mind and your spirit, yeah, basically. So your chakra system is about like is within the mind. So the chakra system is within the mind. So your chakra system is your mind being balanced. To balance yourself, like starting at your solar plexus. Your solar plexus is very important. It's not just about defense, but it's all of the power that is within you, and it is your soul power. And if you focus on that, that can help bring you to God as well, to center yourself and to find nirvana. You're going to want to release the things that, don't really like, that will bring, like, that make you think, oh, I really like, I really like candy. I really like, like Reese's Pieces. I want to go get that. That's a craving, and like an attachment, being like, oh, I like that one. That's the one that I like. That's craving and attachment. But we can, have like any kind of like, Reese's peanut butter cup, basically. You could make your own. You don't need to like. Yeah, but either way, it's also about like, lust attachments as well. So like, don't like attach yourself in ways like, it's like a human, and it's very natural. But to find nirvana, it's about releasing those attachments, so that way we can release the suffering, and just completely detach from anything that can actually, like, that we might want to happen, or anything that we think about happening. Because it's not about like manifesting things. Like, manifesting things is easy, but to be centered, and to be like where you are, that's where it kind of gets like a little bit tricky, because you kind of have to balance out like one and two sides, so that way you can finally be like your own Holy Spirit, not like you can finally be like your masculine, your feminine, and your Holy Spirit in one body, because that's what Jesus promoted. He promoted like to be the Trang within inside of him. And it's not about following a particular person. It's just solely about following yourself and following God. We all are a triangle. Everybody is going to have their own Trang within inside of them. It's about whether they're in the masculinity. If they're in the masculinity, and if they only kind of see the body that they're in, then that's kind of when you're not really aware of certain things. But once you do connect to the femininity of everything, that's when you're able to really connect to God. So yeah. But now this is the last page, and it's saying this is the middle path which the perfect one has found out, which makes one both see and know, which leads to peace, to discernment, to enlightenment. Okay, so that's where you're gonna have to be happy, at your happiest, right? So we'll go ahead and find something from the Torah. Okay, so we have this page. paid for the punishment of their inequity, because they rejected mine or ordinances. I don't know. Their soul abhorred my statutes, and yet for all that they are in the land of their enemies. Oh, and yet for all that, when they are in the land of their enemies, I will not reject them, neither will I abhor them to destroy them utterly, but to break my covenant with them. I am the Lord their God, but I will for sakes remember the covenant of their ancestors, whom I brought forth out to the land of Egypt in the sight of the nations, that I might be their God. I am the Lord. There are the statutes and the ordinances of laws which the Lord made between him and the children of Israel, and the amount and him and the children of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses. And if it be best, where from men an offering unto the Lord, all that may man given of such unto the Lord shall be holy. He shall not alter it nor change it, good for a bad or bad for a good. And if he shall at all change beast for beast, then both it and that for which it is changed shall be holy. And if it may be unclean beast, of which they may not bring an offering unto the Lord, then he shall set the beast before the priest, and the priest shall value it, whether it be good or bad, as though the priest values it, so shall it be. If he will indeed redeem it, then he shall add the fifth part thereof onto thy valuation. So this is kind of like telling us about like this is about like, you know, accepting what, oh my god, it even has repentance up here. And I was actually like talking about repentance recently. So this is about like just kind of accepting what's there, because, you know, when what the Buddha is telling us, like, you know, don't be attached to things, people, and places, or like anything that you might think might happen or anything like that. So don't be attached to anything. Just accept what God has given you, and know that there's a reason that God has placed you there, because God, you know, is, you know, God, right? God is like just hello. So God is like, you know, just like God. So he's gonna put all of us where we need to be, no matter what, because God controls, not like, you know, free will. I feel like free will is like God's free will. It's not like about like free will, like, oh, you know, like, and if anything, maybe God like made the story up in like Adam and Eve, where he made Eve, like, he just wanted to spice up and put in some drama. Like, you know, he just wanted to, like, you know, oh, Eve, the feminine energy, the one who holds all of the knowledge, you know, like, she shall eat from the tree of knowledge because she knows everything, because she's the feminine energy. So she has bitten from the tree of knowledge, so the feminine energy will see all of the things, because she is the high priestess, and the high priestess knows all. And yes, the masculine energy shall follow in her footsteps, for what she does, he follows. So, so yeah, yeah. So, you know, God is just like one thing. So it's not like, you know, it's not like multiple things. It's like one thing. So God knows, like, that. God knows whatever it's doing is, like, you know, like, exactly what needs to happen. So, like, even if, like, you know, you do, like, something and you're just, like, you question it, you're just, like, just remember that, like, you know, God is behind certain things. But, like, you know, sometimes we put our, like, you know, God puts us in certain things so that way we can really learn, like, lessons, you know. Because, like, you know, like with the Five of Wands, you know, we have to, like, kind of go through trials, which are, like, a series of tests, which are just basically, like, it's like flashing lights with, when I think about it. So flashing lights is like confusing color schemes. So it's like almost like a test with the Five of Wands. So you have to kind of, like, remember, like, what the color, like, what's the order of each color in order to pass. So if it's like blue, like kind of like Simon, right? So blue, yellow, red, green. So you need to make sure that you are able to, like, you know, press on all of the correct colors in order to, you know, pass and go to the next level. Yeah, anyways, and you know, when we go through these tribulations and we have to see these flashing lights, and these flashing lights aren't real, they're only just, like, you know, basically like the, like, reflections of our own selves, just like kind of like you know, appearing at us. And we already know, like, you know, like, things are can really be like a whole trip. So yeah, we'll just go ahead, like, life itself. And yeah, so, you know, because, like, everything is in patterns, you know, and if we, just like with history, like, when we know our own history, when we know ourselves, then it's easier for us to you know what our pleasures are, and, like, you know, what we can do in order to you know, surpass that. Because, you know, like, everybody's on a stairway to heaven, so we're all just kind of moving up, like, one by one, you know. Well, you know, some people, you know, they're running, sprinting. Other people are just like they're just taking one step at a time, right? So that's perfectly fine. We're all going at our own pace, and there's plenty of space for everybody, you know. We are all, like, you know, and if we find ourselves going, like, down the stairway, like, that's when we're, like, kind of projecting out into this world and, like, looking and wanting and craving for something that isn't really going to, like, you know, give us whatever it is that we, you know, need. It's like, you know, going down into, like, the masculinity, where all of this is, where when all of the abundance and all of the good works, like, like, in the woodworks, it's up the stairs. It's up the stairs. It's inside of your body. It doesn't have anything to do with what is, like, outside of your eyeballs. So your eyeballs are, like, probably, like, you know, it's like the part of the illusion that really gets you, because you're just like, oh, I open my eyes and I can see something. Well, like, you know, what if, like, you know, like, what, like, you know, what are we gonna see, like, you know, when we're not, like, you know, like, here, right? So we're going to probably just be, like, aware of everything, and instead of, like, you know, like, you kind of just have, like, a sense, like, because, like, you know, this is about, like, being able to sense things, being able to sense vibrational energies, and eyes give us the ability to see certain things, which are really, it's weird. But we'll go ahead and look into the Quran, but I have to use the bathroom, so. Alright, I didn't mean to, like, well, I like completely ended it, but I'm gonna have to edit this whole thing. So now, we'll just go ahead and pull something from the Quran now. It says here, we'll start 77. So, then when he saw the moon rising, he said, "This is my Lord." But when it set, he said, "If my Lord does not guide me, I will be one of the erring people." Then when he saw the sun rising, he said, "This is my Lord, this is bigger." But when I set, he said, "Oh my people, I am innocent of your idolatry. I have directed my attention towards him who created the heavens and the earth." Oh wow. A monoist. I am not of the idolaters. Oh my god. And I even tell you guys, like, remember to idolize your own self, because it says here, and it starts with 77. Then when he saw the moon rising, he said, "This is my Lord." When he saw the moon rising, the feminine energy, this is my Lord, this is my God, okay? But when it set, he said, "If my Lord does not guide me, I will be one of the erring people." Then when he saw the sun rising, he said, "This is my Lord, this is bigger." But when it set, he said, "Oh my people, I am innocent of your idolatry. I have directed my attention towards him who created the heavens and the earth." A monotheist, right? Like when you believe in only one God. I am not of the idolaters. And his people argued with him. He said, "Do you argue with me about God when he has guided me? I do not fear what you associate with him unless my Lord wills it. My Lord comprehends all things in knowledge. You will not reconsider? Will you not reconsider? And why should I fear those you associate with him, and you do not fear as associating others with God, for which he sent down to you?" Wait. And do you not fear associating others with God, for which he sent down to you no authority? Which side is more entitled to security, if you are aware? Right, because this is about kind of like, this is about like you know how people, they would associate a particular person with, like Jesus. They would associate a particular person with God. Like, oh, I can follow this person, and this person will help me connect closer to myself. But no, it is not about you know, the idolizers. It's not about the celebrities. It's not about, like, you know, who's famous and who's popular. It's not about that. It's about just God. It's like literally about like just God. And every single time that, you know, like anybody gets like, you know, within themselves and they're able to actually access God, I don't know why, but like other people, they're just like they act weird about it. They act weird about it until they're like consciously aware of it. They're just like, oh, I guess this actually doesn't really make sense why I'm mad. But yeah, I don't know, I don't understand that. But yeah, you want to, like, you know, make sure that you are aware of just the higher perspective that you have, which is within you. It's not within anybody else, because there are attachments that are all, like, you know, out in this world. Whatever attachments that you may have, whether that be attachments to anything, like, that is, like, you know, in the world. Like, even, like, you know, like me being like, oh, this is my book. That's an attachment, right? But it's not like my book. It's just a book. And if I say this is my book, that's an attachment. But if I say this is God's book, that's not an attachment, because everything is God's, and we can't we can't claim ownership over really anything. So and so that way, that will help reduce the suffering, and to kind of put ourselves in our high priestess energy by looking up at the moon and understanding that the moon, what we don't know, God has for is there for us as God. But what we also do know, which is the sun, that is and for all the people who come up against you, during the time that during the time of rising up, anybody who comes up against you, you have to consider which side are you on? Are you on the side that does not believe in the force of God, or are you on the side that does believe in the force of God? Because the force of God is within literally all people. So yeah, God can do anything. God can be anything, and God is not limited to anything. Anything is literally possible. Why do you think miracles happen? Where people just people's lives just get saved out of nowhere. People's lives, they just get saved. They just get saved all the time. People go in they get people who a lot of people who get into accidents or something. I got into a car crash, and I crashed my car, and I literally had no scratch on my body. Well, I had one scratch. It was on my arm, but that was it. It was literally a very small scratch. And for that to happen, God, those kinds of experiences are very pertinent. And sometimes God will straight up answer you with your TV too, because God you ask the awareness to tell you something. And that's when God shows up. God really shows up for the ones who really asks for him to be there. That's it. You just have to be open to God and not reject him, and not be oh, but God, I want this. It's not about our pleasures. It's about what God is doing for us. Because with what this book said mixed with what this book said, we have the fact that we have to release ourselves from attachments, and we have to accept what God is doing for us, and understand that God is the only God that there is. So whatever's happening in your life right now is really God doing it. So just don't attach yourself to anything, and watch how more things come for you. Because if you're on God's side, that is way better for you than being on a side of idolizing somebody else, putting your energy into something else, into someone else. That's not good for you. You want to make sure that you are only putting your energy solely into God, so that way you can actually be happy, because God has no attachments. God is just about it's not even about being attached to God. It's just about being with God. So this world, it'll ask you to do things for it, so that way you can receive what you want, because it's the conditional love. But the unconditional love is within God. So yeah, you just have to really just not you just really have to not care about a lot of it, any of it really. That's how you just release all of the attachments. You just release it all, and you just know that God's there doing it. And you can laugh with God. You can just build a relationship with God, so that way you can feel good about you can't be attached to what you think that you want. It's you can ask God for certain things and pray for certain things, but whatever God is doing, is for God. And God is the source of everything. God is making this up because, you know, he feels like it. She feels like it. Feels like it. So, whatever your story is, it's just God. And, you know, God wants you to understand, to not be out in this world. Are not attached to a single thing. Nobody belongs to you, and nothing belongs to you, and you don't belong to anybody. Nothing is attached to you. Okay? You're not attached to anything. Okay? You're solely on your own. And that's the best place to be, really. You need to make sure that you are able to detach yourself from the entire rest of the world. So, and just focus on God. Just meditate with your crown chakra, and that will help. So yeah, just make sure that you just don't attach to anything, because it's not good for you. Yep. So just think about it like this. If you think about attachments, then think about the card of the devil. And there you go. That's what I do. I think, attachments, that's the devil. So attachments are not good. Okay? It's like feeling like you have to be somewhere and do something. So yeah, jobs. Jobs are attachments. But if you have your own business, that's when you're just oh, I can do whatever I like. Because it's not it's about God funding you instead of the world funding you. So yeah, fund yourself and let God be the source of all that you do, because yeah, he's here, and he sees who listens, and he sees who acts on what he wants, and he sees that. So you want to just not attach yourself to any single person, anybody in this world, and nothing, not even anything, not even a book. Don't attach yourself to anything, because that's when you can you can like something, that's perfectly fine, but you just don't feel like you absolutely need something, because we don't need anything. We're not attached to anything. The masculine energy, even in life, how we need to breathe, we're attached to the air. But I think that's just an energy of union. It's but to not become attached to the world, but to understand that that's just that's the energy of union. I don't know. I don't understand it. But you want to make sure that you're not attaching to other things, right? You don't want to attach to a person or an idea of a person. You're just going to want to know that there is no other person. But the only thing that you need to be aware and to focus on is God, and that's it. That's the only thing that you should be focused on is God, and God will guide you and push you to go wherever you need to go, because no matter what, even if you're in the masculine energy or your feminine energy, God's still the one that's both of them. So God's doing it all. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's all that I've got for you right now. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and that it's helped you alleviate from any kind of energies that may not be good for you. So just remember to focus on not people. Even this video is it's not an attachment. There's no attachments here. No attachments ever. Nobody is attached to even this channel. Nobody can be attached to this channel, because when you find this channel, it is a place for you to be with God, and solely God. And honestly, really the best place for you to be by yourself, honestly, you should be by yourself. when you're like trying to talk to God. So like because my voice can like make you feel like whatever, or like something like that. It can make your like thoughts think things. So you want to make sure that you don't like project your thoughts out into the world, but you want to ask God about like what you're thinking, and that's prayer. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and let this go, and I'll talk to you guys later. So have a blessed day and just be yourself.